Ronnie Cox, Michael Ironside, Rachel Ticotin, Sharon Stone, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, Philip K. Dick, the infamous and famous genius writer of the original story, 1990, Total Recall. Join the mobile infantry and save the world. Wrong movie, but I love the shirt. I am a Philip K. Dick junkie. I have read at this point, well, most of his novels. I mean, I'm not done yet. He wrote a plethora of stuff after graduate school, well, during and after, immediately after reading through his exegesis, as it's called, posted. They have a website, his fans and followers. Incredible, unfathomable, anything in fiction or science fiction where you don't know what is real and what isn't for sure. You don't know who you are for sure. Pretty much all of that sums up to being the work or the inspiration of Philip K. Dick. Philip K. Dick, of course, was hepped up on some sort of drugs when he saw God and he saw Valis, the vast active living intelligence system. For all you nerds out there that know about it, I won't go into it. Look it up if you haven't heard of it. Read it. It's really fascinating stuff. Was he crazy? Was he a little bit crazy? Was he batshit crazy? Was he actually shifting between parallel realities in an age of the Mandela effect being something, and I know about, don't believe in it, that's not saying it's real, but in a universe where we can ponder things like the Mandela effect and whether it's real, Philip K. Dick has got to be revisited as either a crazy person or someone that was shifting between realities. There was a more recent attempt to do Total Recall. I just couldn't stand it. It seemed pretentious. The film, it's the hallmark of our era seems to be to make things too long, too expansive, too pretentious. It's how I felt about the Snyder Cut that drug everything out for hours, told us nothing really all that earth-shattering, and actually kept in parts of the story that were completely not the characters they were supposed to be. But I digress. The more recent Total Recall took this short story that we can remember it for you wholesale, that became that movie Total Recall. They did a new version of it, and they tried to make the short story into a Gone with the Wind sort of epic that drew on all these different elements of Phil Dick's work, and I just couldn't stand it. 1990, Total Recall is a movie that I can watch again and again and again. Now, it's a much simpler version of the story. It is more of an action movie version of the story. It is a Schwarzenegger movie. What are you going to do? It is that era where he was getting these sort of action, violent, militaristic, sometimes science fiction things, The Running Man, all these films of this era. Total Recall, like Arnold, no offense to Arnold Schwarzenegger, a lot of his movies I like because they're entertaining. Predator is one of the finest films made. None of them are because he's such a great actor. He's just, he's Arnold. You're not looking for him to give an amazing, incredible artistic performance. You're looking for him to squash the bad guy like a bug while you cheer, which kind of makes it odd when the Philip K. Dick stories are so in-depth, introspective, questioning. They're very deeply intellectual, and you adapt one to be a Schwarzenegger movie. And I thought they did an amazing job of adapting it so that we got the gist of the story. It gave us those details. It gave us the lingering question, what is real and what is not? Who are you? Are you just what you do? Are you something very deep inside? But if you have been manipulated to remember your life different, who are you? Who are you really? Who are you, as Dick would say, in some other universe or some other variant of these events? Is he Quaid or is he Hauser? If he's really Hauser, that he chooses to be Quaid. He makes this decision, but based on what? On the reprogramming that was put in him. Is it even him? Is there a difference between our identity and what we're programmed with? Is there a difference between who we are deep inside and what we do? How does one even discern that? I mean, this is classic Phil Dickensian stuff, And Total Recall with Schwarzenegger captures all that stuff while at the same time giving us a chase from Earth to Mars with the bad guys and the shootouts and the mutants and all of this incredible, wonderful stuff that is also drawn from Dick's work. Sometimes you get little snippets of other things of Dick's that pop up in this Total Recall cinematic version of We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. There's really not much I have to complain about Total Recall. We even get, Ronny Cox is incredible as an actor. He's, artistically speaking, his acting ability is incredible. He's been in Star Trek, or would be after this. He's been in a ton of stuff. His revelation of his villainous plans and his sort of monologue is done so well. Michael Ironside, who was always good as a henchman, most of us remembered him from being Ham Tyler in all the incarnations of V, well, from the final battle through the series. I think he first appeared in the final battle. The heavy militaristic mercenary guy who helped fight the Visitors, and now he pops up as a henchman again. All around, there's really only one major complaint that I have at all about the Total Recall movie. Part of the whole shtick of the Phil Dickensian universes is what is real and what isn't. And at first glance, Total Recall does that. They give the conflict where Sharon Stone, as his wife, shows up. Take the pill. You've got to die in this fictional version of events so we can pull you out. And it leaves you with that lingering question. And when he sees the guy sweat, he comes to the realization that he shouldn't be sweating if it isn't real. Of course, he could have diluted that. That could be part of the dream. Nevertheless, he then takes action. Even at the end, the things that are described about vaguely in the lab, they mention blue sky on Mars. And as we're seeing that at the end, it still leaves the question then, is it the simulation or not? The problem is, though they seem to have grasped this mystery, there's a couple places where, whether in post-production or trimming, somehow or another, somebody dropped the ball, because we do occasionally see events, and not many, but we do occasionally see events that Quaid Hauser did not witness. This is a problem. Inside the fictional narrative, you don't have this problem. In the movie, you do. And some of that can be covered. When he's still in and out of consciousness, he's in the recall lab, and they're discussing, he's really been to Mars. In theory, he witnessed that. He's in and out of consciousness. It could be being reported in the literary form as he's overhearing it. But then we get conversations with Ronny Cox's character, with Michael Ironside. We get them talking about whether or not to finally just kill Hauser. We get these occasional scenes where he's not even present. He's not even in the room. He's not in the building. We're seeing that. And for us to be seeing that as the audience means that it's taking place. The only way you can keep the illusion, the question of whether it's real or not, is by making you only see it through his eyes. Only see what he's witnessing and leave the question of whether it's a dream. When you have the outside characters act as outside independent characters and we are allowed behind our wall as the viewer to see them, there's no sense can be made of seeing a discussion between those characters about whether or not to kill Hauser if Hauser's on Earth in a lab having a dream and they're just discussing it, or Quaid is, and they're discussing it on Mars for some reason. No. So because of that sort of error, that failure to maintain the illusion within the story, to maintain the question, sort of that desire to give us more insight into what's going on behind the scenes, which is sort of natural in a movie production. But to do that, they sacrificed that thing that elsewhere they were doing well, which was leave us with the question, we're watching Quaid Hauser live it, but is it real? Is he actually Hauser, or is he dreaming it? And to leave you at the end with the uncertainty. And yet they tried to do that, but you're not really uncertain at the end because you've seen these other characters within universe acting on the plot independently from Quaid Hauser. So that's really my only complaint about it. It does not maintain that illusion perfectly. It just, You got this cinematic thing where they just weren't able to consistently keep that in line enough for what they were producing. Whereas with the story, you can get that in the short story. You can get that in all the novels of Dick. This stuff produced in a way where you don't know what reality is for sure, but they dropped the ball with that. But otherwise, it's an incredibly fun. It's good, solid science fiction. It's good, solid action, chase, adventure. It's good, solid, finding the aliens at the end, turning the machine on, all of that neat stuff that it's a fun, entertaining movie. And it does leave you with all those great philosophical questions about who am I? But it drops the ball on maintaining the illusion of, is this real? In the end, you have to say everything he lived through was real, but what it leaves you with is, am I Quaid or Hauser? What do I choose? And am I more than the sum of my programming and reprogramming? What does it mean then to be an individual, a person, a human? Are you just a character? Are we just someone who struts on the stage and then the curtain falls? Are we more? That is all perfectly Phil Dickensian, and I love it. I just kind of wish that it would be the perfect exposition of it had they maintained that illusion. But it's by far the best one of the Total Recall movies. Go check it out from 1990, Total Recall. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.